Thank you, Donald, and well done on the effort on Fáilte Ireland. We'll have a workshop on that later specifically. Good morning, everybody. I am delighted to be here. My name is Mike Jones. Super inspiring room to be in. Yesterday, in particular, blew me away. The numbers, the campaigns, the successes that we're seeing from people with their agency partners. Really, really inspiring stuff. I, for one, have added Arizona to my bucket list. It's definitely up there. I'm an outdoorsy guy, loving what they're doing. Not sure my fiance will be too impressed if I go home and tell her we're getting a GoPro, starting a YouTube channel, and buying a bright pink RV and heading down to Pigeon Forge. So I might lead with the pancakes, get her on board with that first. And in that YouTube influencer style, stick around to the end and we'll have lots of fun tidbits for you, so pay attention for that right at the end. So what we're going to talk about today is something a little bit different. We're not a marketing agency. What we focus on is digital maturity, as Donald said at the start. You guys already have great agency partners. You're driving great numbers into your destinations. It's super competitive. It's a difficult space to operate in. And you're sending all this traffic downstream to the operators on the ground. And let's be honest, it's not always converting great. There's a lot of it is leaking out. And they're losing that business because they're not really digitally mature. A lot of them are really not that digitally mature. We've all seen it. The guys with the website that looks like a nephew designed it back in 2001, and it hasn't been touched since. And that's where you're sending a lot of the hard-earned traffic that you're generating through your great campaigns. So what we do is we work with operators to measure how effectively they understand and use data, tools, and technology in their businesses. And we do this by measuring them in a digital maturity assessment. That's our key tool. That's where we start them. We then take that and we develop a roadmap. And that roadmap does a few things. Where's my clicker gone? Oh, there's my clicker. Sorry. Let's clickety-click. I got a slide on this one. Can we click through here? There we go. I'll click onto this one. So we look at digital presence, global competitiveness, and bookability. They're the three areas that we work on. 5 years ago, Fáilte Ireland recognized that they had a bit of a problem. They were doing great stuff just like all you guys. They were developing great campaigns, they had great content, they had market segmentation. But when they sent that traffic out, when they sent it out to the operators on the ground, to those suppliers, they realized that 4 out of 5 of those businesses did not have the ability to accept a booking online. So you had to phone them up, you had to send them an email, and they had no online availability published online. So people, you didn't know even if they were going to be open or not on that day. So they set about tackling that challenge. I'm delighted to be joined here by Orla O'Keefe today, Head of Industry Digitalisation with Fáilte Ireland, and we're going to talk a little bit about the project that they've set up to digitally transform the Irish tourism industry. Get myself comfortable. So Orla, take us right back to the start. What was the catalyst for the start of this program?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mike. So as Mike said, we recognised that our operators were definitely behind the European counterparts in terms of their adoption of digital technology. So we recognised this, we set about a national survey. So we actually researched over 1,400 different operators, primarily in activities and attractions providers. And from this, we were able to gather some really decent data points that would allow us to secure an investment from the Irish government to help these operators digitally transform. Specifically, we identified that 85% of our websites, of our operators, were below average. They had not embraced mobile. As Mike said, a lot of them were very reliant on walk-up trade. Only 25% of them had the capability of booking tickets online, and only 11% were actually using online travel booking systems that would connect them to global distribution solutions. So they really were very reliant on walk-up trade, on relationships with tour operators, which the product was heavily discounted in. So we felt if we could support them, developing a comprehensive program of digital transformation, we would be able to get them to leverage a wider distribution mix and become more commercially resilient and sustainable into the future.
Excellent. And what did you see, or what did Fáilte Ireland see as the biggest challenge to getting the project up and running?
Yeah, so Ireland is a small country, but we actually have a lot of small operators. So as I mentioned, we did a survey of 1,400 of our total sector. And within this, we decided, okay, we need to make a step change. We need to really double down and invest in digital transformation. Fáilte Ireland is our national tourism development agency, so a little bit different to most of you in the room. While we do have a marketing responsibility, our primary responsibility is on the ground, grassroots, working with the operators, ensuring the product is right, ensuring it has appeal on the ground. We also identified that people visit Ireland because of the things to see and do. But as Mike said, if businesses are if tourists are encountering, the great product on our main website, but then when they go off to book, they either can't book online or they can't go any further. We found that we weren't able to distribute our tourism visitors around the country significantly enough. So this investment in digitalisation will really help our smaller operators in less known regional areas in Ireland actually to be able to sell their product.
Excellent. And what role did the digital maturity play in implementing the program?
Right, so as I said, back to the 1,400 operators, how are we going to digitally transform all those operators? We needed to develop a tool that would give us a sense of where they were at before they came into our programs, what supports they needed. So working with Mike and the team, we developed a digital maturity assessment, which is a survey-based tool which is focused on 5 key areas. So looking at the overall leadership in the business, looking at their current operations, looking at their adoption of technology, looking at the people on the ground, and then looking at their customer experience. And a series of questions in all of those areas allowed us to develop a tailored roadmap, as Mike mentioned, for each individual business. And from this, they were able to then apply for kind of financial supports to help them invest in the right digital technology to improve their offering.
Great. So we've been doing this for a few years now. We've seen hundreds of businesses at this stage come through the program. What are you seeing as positive outcomes that are showing you that the program is working?
Yeah. So when we started, we assessed the digital maturity through this audit, and we could see really low levels of maturity. The program itself takes about 2 years to complete for each business. We're now seeing improvements of up to 50% in that digital maturity of our businesses. One of the most important factors is that increased adoption of the booking systems. So the product is now available for purchase online. The websites are improved. That end-to-end journey from the DMO site right through to the operator is now much more consistent. And we're seeing that now 34% of our operators, up from that original 11%, are using these online booking systems. And we hope that will grow even further. The program will continue on for a couple of more years. And within that, we also are seeing the businesses themselves on the ground see real increases and improvements in revenue, kind of an average of 8 to 10% increase in their revenue as well as a result of this investment. So really, really happy with the performance and how it's all going. But as I said, that digital maturity audit at the start really gave us the opportunity to identify what each individual business would need in terms of supports.
Great. So we talked about the variety of businesses, and we're working with visitor experiences, big and small. Can you take us into maybe an example of one specific business that's seen success from the program?
Yeah. So everyone familiar with Dublin, Ireland? Yeah. So there's a small operator there who works on the River Liffey, which is the river that transcends the city. It's called Dublin Discovered Boat Tours. When they came to us, they had a poorly performing website. They did not have an online ticketing system. And their primary issue was it's a fixed capacity tour. So running up and down kind of cruises up and down the Liffey. But if they didn't sell their tickets, that inventory was gone. It was wasn't able to be resold. So by improving their digital technology, implementing a booking system, helping them with their website, setting up their data and their reporting, giving them some guidance around digital marketing, they were able to access that global distribution ticketing option through the OTAs, and their growth in online ticket sales went up 140% by accessing that kind of wider distribution network. And ultimately, they're now a more commercially resilient business because they're not so reliant on the tour operator, which is, as I said, heavily discounted kind of ticket selling. So they're now able to access more kind of direct to customer sales. So they've been really happy, really delighted with the experience, So if you're ever in Dublin Discovered for the cruises on the Liffey.
Super, thank you. And I think that's one of many success stories that we've seen. And I get to work day in, day out on the program, and we see so many businesses, large and small, really benefiting from the program. But that's a super example, and yeah, highly recommended thing to do. So stepping back out a little bit, Fáilte Ireland is a development agency. You've got an economic driver, I suppose, behind you. What kind of KPIs are you using to measure the impact of the program based on the economic impact you're expected to have?
Yeah. So at the start of the program back in kind of 21, 22, we were able to kind of work with our Department of Tourism and secure some capital funding to support the businesses to embrace and put in the right technology systems. But in return, we're working on a 9-to-1 return on investment. So we have to make sure these businesses continue to perform, continue to embrace digital technologies, and continue to sell at a much higher level going forward. So that's our primary KPI, kind of a 9-to-1 return on investment for the Irish government, essentially. Yeah.
Fantastic, and it'll probably resonate with a lot of people in the room here who, they see tourism as a major economic driver. From some destinations, it is the industry in their destination, so the economic benefit is really important to them.
Yeah, so in Ireland, like tourism accounts for 30% of our overall employment. So it's really important that we continue to grow that, delivering sustainable jobs, sustainable growth from an economic perspective. Yeah, so yeah.
Absolutely. So what role is digital maturity going to play for Fáilte Ireland in future projects, and how might you see it being used as a tool for measuring in the future?
Yeah, so the program I'll be talking about today was primarily focused on activity providers and attractions operators. Going forward into the future, we want to expand the supports we offer to our industry, looking at accommodation providers, operators in other sectors, and we do plan to continue to use the digital maturity framework. So as part of that, we're getting access to great data on our businesses, on how they're performing. So we want to continue to use that going forward. So I think, into the future, as businesses come to us looking for supports, looking for capital investment, we can use this tool to help us assess their level of maturity and which supports are appropriate to offer to them. So if a business is less mature, for example, we'll have to focus on basic digital transformation efforts first. So back to our websites, our booking systems, if it's a visitor attraction, hotel property management systems, if it's a hotel, and looking at how that's all working together. If the business is coming to us and is actually, more mature, we'll be able to look at helping support them with, more advanced technologies, AI, AR, VR, IoT, those kinds of things. So we do hope to use it, in an onward basis going forward. And it's that consistency in the data that it offers to us allows us to build on going forward. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you, and we look forward to being involved in many of those projects into the future. Just want to start wrapping up there. I want to say a massive thank you to Orla for coming all this way with us. I think if there's an award tomorrow for the people who travel the furthest, we should definitely be in the running for it. We are Wearsite. We are here now in the US. My colleague Carl is here. My slide is not progressing. Do I have to click it? There we go. Here we go. Here's our brand coming up. We are Wearsite. My colleague Carl is here along with me. We're working now in the US. We'll be excited to talk to anybody who wants to learn more about digital maturity and the work that we've been doing. Carl has some limited trial options available, so please do seek him out on the app. Our email addresses are here to do the salesy bit. Thank you very much, folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Good. Okay, so